right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story, Mr. Olympia Brandon Curry. Brandon posting several very impressive physique updates today at 2 weeks out. Yes, it's crazy to say, but we're 2 weeks out from the 2020 Mr. Olympia. Today is Friday, and the festivities begin on Friday in 2 weeks, which I believe is the 17th. So the first thing Brandon posted was this post on his page, and he actually says in the caption that this was taken 2 weeks out from the 2020 Mr. Olympia. This is where things get fun and more interesting. I'm going to try to enjoy the rest of the process as much as I can. What will be, will be. What an exciting way to end the year. Photo taken by his coach, Abdullah, hashtag number 15, Mr. Olympia. So I've got to say, I'm extremely excited for the Olympia. The fact that the Olympia is in December is pretty fitting because every year when the Olympia comes around, it feels like Christmas for a bodybuilding fan like myself. The Olympia is our Super Bowl. It's the best of the best. All the best bodybuilders go there and compete. It's the most exciting time of year to be a bodybuilding fan, so I think it's actually kind of fitting that it is happening in December, basically the weekend before Christmas. And of course, Brandon is looking like Brandon usually looks. He's got that crazy fullness to his arms and his shoulders. And in this picture, you can kind of see those striations coming in on his delts there. He's got that garden hose vascularity in his forearm. And of course, he's standing in front of some very good lighting. And that brings me to the next physique update from Brandon, his stories. So in addition to the post on his timeline, he posted some videos posing in front of the sunlight, and he actually tagged me in these stories, and he put the hashtag there, or the caption, sunlight is greater than goon light. So that brings me to possibly the question of the century. Which do you guys believe is more effective in showing off your physique? Sunlight / natural lighting from a window, or goon light, that down lighting from a nice fluorescent light in the gym? But regardless of which lighting he is using, Brandon is still looking like a man on a mission to retain his Olympia title this year. And he is still looking shredded and round and full, which is everything you want to see from a bodybuilder like Brandon Curry. You want him to come in shape, but you want him to bring in that fullness and not look small next to a guy like a Phil Heath or a Big Ramy. So I think Brandon is right on track for where he wants to be, because he's got a delicate game to play coming up at the Olympia. You got Phil Heath, probably the roundest dude there is in bodybuilding. You got Big Ramy, probably the biggest guy there is in bodybuilding. And Brandon Curry, one of the most aesthetic Mr. Olympias to win the contest over the past couple decades, really. So Brandon has to play this game of not only coming in conditioned, but he's got to play this game of still looking round enough and full enough and having the illusion enough of this round, full physique with a nice V-taper, making him look like he's got a bigger upper body than he has, because he's going up against Big Ramy and Phil Heath, which he didn't have to go against last year. So he's playing kind of a delicate game. And also, I thought it was cool that Brandon tagged me in those stories. I wanted to give him a little free promo shout-out right here for his new supplement company. They didn't pay for this or anything. I just thought it was cool that he started this Big O supplement line with Tiger Fitness. Check it out if you want to. If you guys have a favorite bodybuilder, support your bodybuilder, man. Buy whatever product they sell. So shout out to Brandon Curry, and shout out to his new supplement company, Big O Nutrition. I'm going to go ahead and go order a box of these cereal bars just to show some love. So shout out Brandon Curry. Now, next up in the news, a physique update of Hadi Choopan at 2 weeks out, hitting that classic most muscular pose. And it still remains a question whether or not Hadi is going to be able to get his visa to compete at the Olympia this year. We're at 2 weeks out right now, so it's kind of starting to seem unlikely. And based on everything I've seen so far, Hadi is still awaiting his interview to even apply for the visa. So we're 2 weeks out now. I would say if Hadi doesn't get to the States in the next week or so, it's looking very unlikely that we might not see Hadi at the Olympia this year. But for what it's worth, he does look like he is in Olympia condition based on the pictures and videos we've seen so far. So shout out to Hadi Choopan, and also I want to thank Labrada Nutrition for sponsoring today's video. I've really loved having Labrada on board as a sponsor of this channel, and I appreciate that they've continued to support my channel in this way. So without further ado, here's the Labrada Nutrition ad, and if you want to, please go ahead and check out the link in the description box below. Get you guys some lean body shakes or something like that. Support the channel, support Labrada. Here is the video. All right, now next up in the news, let's talk about Wesley Vissers here. Wesley Vissers obviously competing and qualified for the 2020 Classic Physique Mr. Olympia. Wesley Vissers looking for some redemption this year after his last major show being the Arnold Classic. He didn't bring the best package there. That was 2019, and at that 2019 Arnold, he was outside of the top 6 there. And now this year, we're looking to see the best version of Wesley I think we've ever seen from a conditioning standpoint. Wesley looks extremely dangerous based on what we're seeing so far. In the past, the criticism of Wesley was that he wasn't conditioned enough. In fact, I believe the judges told him that after his Chicago Pro win, in which I believe that was his pro debut back in, I guess that was 18. In Wesley, he was going for a classic physique look, and he thought classic physique didn't necessarily mean being the most conditioned guy on stage, because in the 70s, that wasn't the kind of conditioning they had. That wasn't what a classic physique looked like. So now it looks like Wesley has taken that criticism and ran with it. So he posted this video of his back, and everyone's been posting their back updates, Bumstead, Breon, and showing off their Christmas trees. Wesley has a Christmas tree of his own available in this video. And he really looks to be in insane shape, especially for Wesley. I mean, this to me is one of the best versions of Wesley, and this is just his prep phase. This is one of the best versions I've seen of him from a conditioning standpoint, just in the gym. I mean, who knows how he's going to look on stage, but how he's looking so far is pretty mind-blowing. And he also posted this picture, a side chest here. The side chest, in my opinion, one of Wesley's best poses. And in this picture and in this pose, he's got the death face. He's got striations all throughout his shoulder, vascularity, definition all throughout his arms, his chest, cross striations in the pecs. And his face, I mean, is the telltale sign of how good a shape he's in. His face is about as sunken in as you can expect from a bodybuilder prepping for the Olympia, and he's 2 weeks out right now. And when Wesley first arrived to the IFBB, he had a lot of hype behind him, and a lot of people felt like he didn't deliver and he maybe needed some more time to work into being a pro. And I think maybe this is the year that Wesley has taken that time. He's put in that work. He's bringing a better package than he's ever brought. And this might be the version of Wesley Vissers that we see make a massive splash at the Olympia. Because whether, I've seen a lot of guys say Wesley is a social media guy. He's only popular because he's big on social media. That's what a lot of people have said. And he only gets the press that he gets, again, because he's big on social media. People say that, other competitors say that about him. But I think even those other competitors that say that about Wesley can't deny how he is looking right now in these pictures. And again, pictures are different than how he's going to look on stage. But it's pretty evident to me that Wesley is bringing the best conditioning he's ever brought to this show. So shout out to Wesley, and I'm certainly excited to see what he brings to this year's Mr. Olympia. Now, another physique update for you guys in men's open bodybuilding. Regan Grimes, who has qualified for the Olympia this year on points, and qualified, of course, for next year's Mr. Olympia by winning the Romania Pro recently. He posted a posing video at 2 weeks out from the Olympia under some natural lighting, just like Brandon Curry. This is why I think you need the Goon light, Regan. You got to pay attention, man. Because I think Regan is in good shape here, but I think the lighting doesn't show it as well as it could. I think Regan looks a little washed out because of the lighting and because he doesn't have a tan on. But Regan, 2.5 weeks out from the Olympia, one of the more aesthetic guys in that lineup, in my opinion. Where do you guys think Regan will place in the 2020 Mr. Olympia men's open bodybuilding category? This is what he looks like at 2.5 weeks out. Now, next up in the news, one of the latest pictures posted by Chris Bumstead, really the definition of Goon light. I believe this picture is a couple days old, if not a week old, because I saw it posted somewhere else before Chris posted it, and people were spamming me in the comment section of this picture because it does look so Goon light-ish. And all I have to say about this is, dancing in the Goon light, everybody feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight. Chris Bumstead posing in the Goon light. Posing in the Goon light. All right, but on a more serious note, another guy posing in the Goon light here, Chris Bumstead's coach and brother-in-law, Iain Valliere, looking for redemption after some of the criticism he got at the New York Pro after his win there. People were criticizing his conditioning, including myself. But I think he's looking like, based on the physique updates that he's been posting, I think he's going to be a little bit more dialed in at the Olympia than he was at the New York Pro. And I would really like to see a version of Iain Valliere that had like lights out conditioning, slam the door shut conditioned version of Iain Valliere's physique. I think would be a pretty dangerous one. Now, granted, he does have a couple weak points, mainly his chest. His calves would be the one that most people would bring up in the comment section most often. But I do like Iain's physique, and I would like to see him do well at this year's Mr. Olympia. He's got kind of that mass monster look to his physique without having the super blown out waist. He's still got some decent lines and some decent proportions. Aside from those weak points that we mentioned, I like his physique. I mean, I would like to see him be a top 10 guy at the Olympia. I think it would just be a matter of really good conditioning, to overcome some of those structural issues. Now, the final story that I have for you guys today, 212 Olympia competitor Ahmad Ashkanani. This guy is one of the best in 212. He's been runner-up before to Flex Lewis. He posted a full posing video version of the picture that he posted. So he posted a picture in front of this same lighting. I think it was just a still frame from this video. But a lot of people were impressed by that picture. Well, he released a full posing video, and he is looking like a serious threat to the 212 Olympia title. I mean, I've talked a lot about George Peterson coming over from Classic Physique and how he's going to do in 212. But from a size standpoint, if you compare George and Ahmad he's like a miniature mass monster, man. Ahmad is a really big dude, and he's got a lot of size on his physique. And I think it's going to be hard for someone to compete with him. Even like George Peterson, he's got a lot of size. It's just going to be hard, man. It's going to be an interesting 212 Mr. Olympia this year, and that's for sure. Will shape prevail? Will lines prevail? Will structure prevail? Or will it be like, who is the shortest mass monster in the best shape, and that's who wins? That's going to be the big question, because George, he's more aesthetic than some of these guys. Like I said, a lot of these guys are just, kind of short mass monsters. Some of these guys have pretty good shape, like Derek Lunsford, and he was kind of rewarded for that last year by getting runner-up. Derek Lunsford, he can hit a vacuum pose. He's got a really good V-taper. His conditioning wasn't the best, but he still got runner-up at last year's 212 Mr. Olympia, so maybe they are rewarding shape and structure a little bit more now in 212 than they were before. And I mean, I hate to say this, but who knows how much longer 212 is even going to be around as a division. I mean, they recently removed it from the Arnold Classic. I guess it was a couple years ago now. They removed 212 from the Arnold Classic, and now they've, I wouldn't be surprised if one day they remove that from the Olympia. So that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Please give it a big old thumbs up if you did, in fact, enjoy it. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed yet already. That really helps out a lot. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And as always, Nick Strength and Power, signing out.